What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another NFL Deep Dive. We have 3 left, and we have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming in here at number 3. Now, there really is just one overhanging question for this team, and it is, do we see, for once, this entire offense together, healthy and allowed to play? We kind of saw it about 2, maybe 3 years ago with all these guys together, Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, healthy Ben Roethlisberger. And although it was only a few games, what we saw was pretty incredible. So do we finally get that? And if we do, we are talking about potentially the greatest offense of all time here, guys. But the thing is, this defense is somewhat uninspiring. They have some players out there, but it's a defense that's going to struggle at times. They're going to give up north of 25 points in a lot of matchups. So they're going to need that offense to be what their potential is. And now coming in at number 3, there is obviously me saying they have the potential to do that, but they're not number 1 for a reason. And a lot of that is this defense. And we'll talk about some question marks for the offense and maybe why I'm not so high on this defense when we get to the depth chart here in a minute. But as far as Vegas is concerned, this team's over-under is set at 10.5. It's a pretty sharp number, but I like it. I like this team to get to 11 wins. This division is not going to be the best. The Ravens just can't stay healthy. I'm lowering on them. The Bengals are going to be the Bengals, and the Browns are going to suck. So the Steelers team is going to have a decent path to get to 11 wins. The AFC is not nearly as tough as the NFC. So I think that's a pretty safe bet, over 10.5 on the Steelers. It doesn't pay the best, though, minus 150. They are the favorites to win this division. I think that is pretty safe as well, but obviously the payout not amazing there either. I think you do need to keep your eye on the Bengals, but I wouldn't expect them to win this division. And then at the Super Bowl price of 12-1, I kind of like it, if I'm going to be honest here. I had the Steelers going to the Super Bowl last year, and they've gotten better now. So their defense has added some new pieces. They get Martavis Bryant back. They didn't have Le'Veon Bell for the majority of that game against the Patriots. They maybe could have beaten the Patriots last year. I'm not saying they... Well, I guess I did say that they were going to. So we don't know what could have happened there. Unfortunately, the Patriots also get much better too, though. So I think it's going to be tough on the Steelers. They have more questions than the Patriots, but I'm not ruling it out at this moment. Again, I will have a full predictor video once I wrap up these deep dives. So how about we run through this depth chart now? Let's start with the offense. Really no questions until something happens. I mean, Big Ben is the 5th best quarterback for me. He's kind of like what I said about Russell Wilson, in that he has those inconsistent games that keep him closer to like a Phillip Rivers than to Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. But obviously not too many concerns about Big Ben. The whole considering retirement thing and his play dropping off a little bit towards the end of the year is something to keep an eye on, but I think he'll be fine. And then at running back, Le'Veon Bell, to me the 2nd best running back in football, but neck and neck with David Johnson. When he's got a good offensive line, he will look better than any running back behind it because of that patience and that quickness to power ratio. Can't say David Johnson has that, but I do like David Johnson's ability to create for himself a little more than Le'Veon Bell, but man, these guys are both incredible. And then you got James Conner taken in the 3rd round here. Now, this is a guy that I really like. I think, like his counterpart Le'Veon Bell, is a guy that is going to show more athleticism at the next level than he did in his last year in college. He said himself that his combine scores weren't as good as they would have been pre-cancer, which is a well-documented story. So I love keeping an eye on James Conner. I have him in my Dynasty League for fantasy. I think he is the number 1 handcuff you want, assuming he does take over the backup running back role here. You do got Fitzgerald Toussaint, Nile Davis, Terrell Watson, but none of those guys have the talent that James Conner has. So I think it's going to be James Conner as the number 2, and definitely a guy. I mean, hell, Le'Veon Bell isn't under contract for next season, so there is a small chance they let Bell go. They're going to have to pay a lot of guys on this offense. If they like James Conner enough, we know that running back position isn't always that important. So enough running back talk here. This receiving core, is it the best receiving core in football now that Martavis Bryant is off of the suspension? I mean, you could certainly make a great argument for that. I like the Bengals, and I like I like the top heaviness of the Broncos, obviously the Falcons, but man, this Steelers receiving core now, you got Brown and Martavis Bryant. You could argue the best 1-2 punch, and they got a ton of depth. I mean, hell, Justin Hunter or Sammy Coates is probably going to be cut from this receiving core. It's that deep. Darius Hayward-Bay will probably make it. Eli Rogers, Juju Smith-Schuster taken in the second round here. You got Kobe Hamilton. Showed some things last year, so this is a super deep group of receivers. And then at tight end, Jesse James going to be the starter here. They got David Johnson, Xavier Grimble. I like Jesse James a little bit. He's a serviceable starting tight end, pretty solid hands. And then this offensive line, is this the best offensive line in football? Left to right, it's pretty incredible what they got out here. You got Villanueva emerging as one of the best left tackles in football. Foster, DeCastro, Pouncey on the inside. Oh, that is some meat. And Marcus Gilbert, one of the best right tackles in football. You know, I can't say with confidence that there is a better offensive line in football than that. So if this whole team stays healthy, we're talking about top 5 at every single position. That is unheard of. And I honestly can't wait to see what this Steelers team looks like this year, because it could be historic. And then defensively, there's more to talk about here, right? So D-line, Stephon Tuitt, Cameron Hayward, a pretty good pair of DNs. I'll be honest, that is one of the strengths of this team. They do play good in run defense. It's more the pass defense that I'm worried about. Javon Hargrave, fine, nose tackle. They signed Tyson Alualu to rotate in there with this D-line. Daniel McCullers, Latarius Walton rotating, and some undrafted guys behind them. So a pretty solid group up front, but then the linebackers, you got a little more concern. I mean, the pass rush, James Harrison, you don't want to bet against him, but is he 40 yet? He played well last year, but they draft TJ Watt, a player I really like. If he can be a freak and the starting pass rusher here and really get this to be at least a top 12 pass rush, maybe with Harrison and Bud Dupree over there, then this defense is going to have some potential. But he is a rookie, and he's probably not going to start unless Harrison really drops off, or if he really impresses and takes Bud Dupree's job. Arthur Mote's still there, but really no one behind those three in terms of edge rush. Then on the inside linebacker, they do lose Lawrence Timmons, so Vince Williams looks to be the starting inside linebacker there. That could be a weakness, but Ryan Shazier, total stud. Definitely a fan favorite player. I love Ryan Shazier. He's a guy that comes up in my Madden rating. I think he's a 79 in Madden 18. I think he's definitely better than that. Tyler Matakevich, an interesting backup linebacker there, but pretty thin group of linebackers all around. And then the corners, well, this group's going to struggle. I mean, you got Artie Burns, a first-round pick from last year. Now, he should be better, should be the best corner in this group, I would think. But then Senquez Golston, Ross Cockrell, your other starters, whatever, they've definitely shown their struggles. William Gay still on this roster. You got Cody Sensabaugh, dangerously close to the starting lineup. They do take Cameron Sutton in the third round, but they didn't do a ton to upgrade this group. So it's going to be a struggling group. All these guys really come down in my Madden rating. There's a couple of these guys in the 80s, which is pretty ridiculous to me from a Madden perspective. So they're really going to need that pass rush to hit home. They're going to need Bud Dupree to take a step forward. They're going to need TJ Watt to emerge. If they don't, then this is going to be a bad defense, a bottom 10 defense, and I don't know if that's going to be enough if we're talking Super Bowl expectations for this team. And the safeties kind of more the same. Sean Davis, second round pick last year. Mike Mitchell, just some serviceable safeties there, but definitely no stars in the secondary, and it's definitely a concern because there's not a ton of playmakers on this team. Ryan Shazier, clearly the biggest playmaker. So a lot of questions. How good can this defense be? If they could just be a top 20 defense, though, this team is definitely going to have Super Bowl expectations at the end of the season. So Steelers fans, let me know if there's players that I missed talking about, and NFL fans, are you lower on the Steelers? Is anyone low on the Steelers team this year? Let me know in the comments below. Consider giving this video a like if you enjoyed the video. So that's all I got. Cheers, and we'll see you guys for the next one.